Good morning. I'm Kate Seeley with the Middle East Institute. Thank you all so much for joining us today. It gives me great pleasure to welcome Lebanese scholar Randa Slim. We recently had the good fortune of welcoming her into our ranks of scholars, and she'll be doing some wonderful research for us and for others on Syria, Hezbollah, and Iran. She's just been in the region for several weeks in Lebanon and comes with very fresh insight into Hezbollah's concerns in the face of a changing Middle East. Before I introduce Rhonda, however, I just want to say a few words about upcoming MEI events. We have our annual conference on Thursday, November 17th. I hope you all have seen some of the materials that we gave out downstairs. It's a full-day conference covering the implications of the Arab Spring on U.S. policy in the region, Arab economies, and, of course, the changing dynamics and the shifting regional relationships. We're bringing many people from the region. The wonderful Egyptian democracy activist Saadettin Ibrahim will be here. Esra Abdel Fattah, another democracy activist who is a contender for the Nobel Peace Prize, will be speaking. Jamal Khashoggi, the great reform Saudi journalist, will be on a panel. Paul Salem of the Carnegie Endowment, and many, many others. So I hope you join us for what is a free conference. The night before, we're having a banquet fundraiser, which I hope you will buy tickets to and support MEI for. We'll be featuring William Burns, the Deputy Secretary of State, whose comments on the Arab Spring will be of great interest to us. We're also honoring Esra Abdel Fattah, who is known in Egypt as the Facebook girl, and through her social media helped bring thousands of young people into Tahrir Square during the uprisings. And we'll also be honoring the great UN negotiator, Lakhdar Brahimi. So please buy tickets to that. And the next day, come to our big event on the peace process. We're featuring the authors of the Geneva Accord, former Israeli MP Yossi Beilin, and his Palestinian counterpart. Yasser Abed Rabbu was supposed to make it. He's had to drop out, and we're looking for a Palestinian alternative. That is on Thursday. And there on the back of the Randa Slim introduction is the schedule for the event on the 17th. All right, so back to today's event. The focus of today's talk is Hezbollah, the Lebanese militant group, and the impact of the Arab Spring on the Party of God, which has not at all been happy with the region's uprisings. The uprisings are anti-establishmentarian by nature, and as much as Hezbollah would like to present itself as sort of the face of the people, it does indeed represent the old order, especially in Syria, where it's very closely linked to the regime. There are reports of Hezbollah and Iranian fighters being brought in to help quell the riots in Syria, and that in turn has led to anti-Hezbollah and anti-Iranian protests among the demonstrators, and that is quite unprecedented and has posed a real moral dilemma for a populist organization that has long prided itself on being in touch with the popular mood. So given the complex set of circumstances, what are Hezbollah's domestic priorities? What is the impact of the Syrian revolution on Hezbollah's political calculus? And how do the Arab uprisings impact Hezbollah's regional standing? Well, these are just some of the questions Rhonda will be asking today. Rhonda has a background in conflict resolution, which she taught at AUB and at the Royal Roads University in Canada. She has consulted USAID, UNDP, and the Swiss Foreign Ministry, focusing on mediation, conflict prevention, and post-conflict peace building. In 2009, she was a senior program advisor at the Rockefeller Fund and also worked for USIP as a guest scholar. Today, she wears two scholarly hats here at the Middle East Institute and also with the New America Foundation, and is currently completing a book on Hezbollah, mapping its political evolution from 1985 till today. So please join me in welcoming Randa Slim.
Thank you, Kate, for your introduction. I also thank you and the Middle East Institute for including me and welcoming me into their scholars roster and for hosting this presentation and conversation. And I look forward to the comments and questions from the audience. Let me get straight into the presentation. As Kate has said, I will be addressing three questions. The first one, how does Hezbollah view the Syrian citizen revolt? And the second one, what are Hezbollah's domestic priorities in light of the developments next door as well as in the region? And third, how could the Arab citizen revolts affect Hezbollah's regional standing? Let me start with the first questions. Despite the leadership, Hezbollah's leadership's silence of late about Syrian uprising, Syria remains and has been for some time the party's #1 priority. Hezbollah officials and their political allies continue to state publicly their confidence in the ability of the Assad regime to withstand this current crisis. Still, there is serious concern in their ranks that Syria might be heading toward a civil war. Last Wednesday, during an address he gave to the Armenian parliament, Nabih Berri, a Hezbollah ally and close confidant of the leadership and a speaker of the Lebanese parliament, said the following, quote, "Stoking the fire of sectarianism in Syria will affect the region and will increase the drive for dividing what's already divided," end of quote, meaning partitioning Syria into different mini-states. In my opinion, this is a good description of Hezbollah's principal concern right now about Syria. There are only two possible outcomes to the Syrian uprising as far as Hezbollah is concerned. Either the Assad regime will survive by subduing the citizen revolt, or Syria will descend into a civil war. To date, they are still betting on the firmer outcome. Now, Hezbollah's solid support for the Assad regime has cost them in terms of credibility and reputational capital, both in Syria and in the wider Arab region. However, it's a loss that they believe is limited and reversible, while Assad's demise, when it occurs, will irreversibly alter the Levant's political landscape. What are the implications to Hezbollah of Assad's demise? It could be discussed. I could discuss this implication on 3 levels. Let me talk first about, list them, and then I will discuss them briefly. The first level is the loss of a reliable ally. Their alliance with Bashar al-Assad started right after Bashar al-Assad was brought into Damascus by his father following Basil's death. And since then, they have spent time, resources in cultivating and nurturing this alliance and this relationship. So whoever will succeed Assad, even if it's an Alawite, the relationship will never be the kind or the type of relationship they right now have with Bashar al-Assad. The second level is a setback to the Iran-Syria-Hezbollah axis. And the third is the ripple effects of Assad's demise inside Lebanon. The first one, unlike his father, Hafez al-Assad, who has often thought to limit Hezbollah's role in Lebanese politics, Bashar al-Assad followed a Hezbollah-centric policy in Lebanon to the detriment of alliances that his father regimes cultivated with other Lebanese political players. As Sayyid Nasrallah, Hezbollah Secretary General, often said, the only Arab regime and the only Arab leader that stood by them from the beginning and until now has been the Syrian regime. And whoever will succeed Bashar al-Assad, that relationship for now will be broken, and it will be hard to rebuild it or cultivate it the way they have done with Bashar. The second, the Iran-Hezbollah-Syria axis underpins Hezbollah's military strategy. Now, the only time where Hezbollah felt that the Syrian regime was about to enter into a peace agreement with Israel, thus threatening that alliance, was in 2000. Since 2000, Hezbollah never felt the kind of threat to its military arsenal that will come as a result of a peace agreement between Syria and Israel. So Syria is the crucial linchpin that connects Hezbollah and Iran, serves as a conduit for transfer of weapons into Lebanon, provides strategic depth for Hezbollah, and grants Iran a toehold on Israel's northern border. And most importantly, and we often tend to underestimate the personal aspect of this relationship.